We are also grateful to the following financial sponsors and donors for their generosity towards the production of this program. John Paul Talent, Double Diamond sponsor. Charles and Marilyn Hawley, Gold sponsors. The Rose City Civitans, Gold sponsors. Ms. Leslie Williford, Silver sponsor. Mr. and Mrs. Bobby Garman, Silver sponsors. Anthony and Deborah Taylor, Silver sponsors. Charities Place Incorporated, Zelinda Colston, owner, Bronze sponsor. Mr. and Mrs. Todd Clifton, Bronze sponsor. Darren Richardson of DMR Studios, LLC, Bronze sponsor. Gerald and Phyllis Vallejo, Bronze sponsor. Adrian Crowder and Hilton and Patricia Washington, Bronze sponsors.
Mr. Eddie and Mrs. Estella Hamilton, Bronze sponsor.
Kevin Highland, Bronze sponsor. Anjanetta Jackson, Bronze sponsor. Talisha Lewis, Bronze sponsor. Onissa Mitchell, Bronze sponsor. Christine D. Johnson, Bronze sponsor. Megan Levere, Crystal Coker. Bobby Mays, Danita Hashaway. The Powell Chapel Baptist Church, Winona, Texas, and the Holmes family.
Pete Adams, Glade Water Bookstore.
Merlene and Erlene Sutphin, Melanie Richardson. Evergrace Derrick, Darren Richardson. The ladies at the Gladewater Museum, Mrs. Elaine Roddy and Mrs. Lois Reed. Sandra L. McCurdy, Nancy and Jay Edwards. Kathy Jo Cannon, Dr. Bridget Moore, Andrea Fields, Lisa Rush, independent business owner, Deshanna Shepard, Suzanne Russell Randolph, Mr. and Mrs. Eddie Hamilton, Mrs. Helen Harrington Mitchell, Miss Shawana Spencer, Mr. and Mrs. Larry Hamilton, Ronald and Carol Henson, Charles and Brandy Harrington, LaShonda Maynard. Good Cakes and Pies, homemade with love by Patricia Washington. Pa's Lawn Service, Hilton and Pat Washington. Mr. Chris Hopkins, Mrs. Keisha McLeod. The Jackson and Brewster family, Mr. and Mrs. Kaliba Faith. Clara Bates, Ricky Jones, AJ and Linda Lewis. Kay Bussy May, Mary Muldrew, and Daryl Tennyson. As we conclude our presentation, we want to give a great big shout out to the Board of Directors and the Advisory Council to the Red Rock Historical Association, who have all worked so tirelessly in the production of this first ever virtual event. Those people include Mr. Royce Clay, Mrs. Margaret Bell, Mrs. Benny Moore, Mr. Darren Richardson, Ms. Claudette Clay, Mrs. Frankie Alexander, Mrs. Portia Scott, Dr. Margot Bell, Dr. Bridget Moore, the late Reverend James Clay, Mrs. Sandra Clay, Ms. Brenda Moore, Mrs. Henrietta Smith, Mrs. Pearlie B. Johnson, Mr. John Paul Talent, Mrs. Patricia Washington, Mr. Andre Clay, Mrs. Leslie Williford, Mr. Gregory Darian, Mr. Harold Wells, and Mr. Jerry Hawley. Very special thanks is given to Miss Kennedy Scott for photography, videography, and technical assistance. Also, special thanks to Mr. Brent Farmer, director of the Kilgore College Steel Drum Band, for musical clips used during the presentation. Before we leave tonight, I want to tell you a little bit about RRHA. The Red Rock Historical Association was founded in 2005 to research, assemble, and display the history of African American communities in Northeast Texas and to record and preserve the lives and contributions of these people. The elite Pathfinders are recognized as outstanding individuals and businesses who are vital to the contribution of this historical process. Our second aim is to establish a museum in the Red Rock community. That museum, the African American Museum of Northeast Texas, will be the basis of the mission of this organization. The process can only be completed through generous donations of time and money, and we hope that you will consider supporting us as we move forward. Thank you for joining us. Congratulations to our elite Pathfinders, and may God bless you all.